Hey YouTube, it's I Favor Grace. I'm coming at you today with a quick video with 5 tips on how I survived nursing school. Yes, I said nursing school. So I know that a lot of people would be interested in knowing how to survive nursing school, but these are just a few quick tips that work for me, and they really help me get through each and every day, each and every class. So I want to go ahead and jump right into it. The first tip that I have written down is to find your motivation. Know what drives you. Like, if you're a self-motivated person, this shouldn't be too hard for you, but know like what makes you want to get up in the morning and hit the ground running. Like, what makes you want to just jump right into each and every day knowing or believing that, hey, I'm gonna make today like the best day I can be. And know what your motivation is outside of money for the profession. Yeah, because there are a lot of things that you could not pay me enough to do. So know what your motivation is outside of money. Know what makes you go. What's your get up and go in life? The second tip is get acquainted with yourself. Yes, learn self-love. Get acquainted with you, yourself, and I. But know that there are going to be a lot of times that your friends or your family members are going to call and they're going to be like, hey, we're taking this road trip and we're going to Miami or we're going to Panama and we want you to come, or let's go hang out, let's go do this. And you're just going to have to say no. It's going to be hard, and it definitely can start to make you feel bad because after so long, everybody's like, well, I know you're not always busy, or it can't be that hard, but it really is. It takes a lot of dedication, and you're going to have to learn to say no, and you're going to have to learn to not feel guilty about saying no, and not feel like, oh, well, I'm always the one that flakes, or I'm always the one that has to say no or stay home. But it's going to make so much more sense in the long run. You may not really understand now why, but you're going to have to learn to just say no. So get acquainted with yourself and your books. The third tip is to manage your time. I know that this is like the oldest tip in the book. Like, our parents say it all the time, your boss says you need to manage your time, but you really do. It's so important, time management in school, especially nursing school, because it's gonna feel like so much. And especially those of you who have families and jobs, and you're gonna be like, there isn't enough hours in a day, I just can't. Like, the dean of our school knows that I have a habit of saying it's just too much, and every time she sees me, she would say that it's just too much, because it feels like it's just too much. For me, I had to work the whole time I was in nursing school. I think maybe my last month or so I didn't work, but I was living off of some savings that I had. But I had to work, and not part-time, full-time. I had real life bills. So I understand that, but you guys are going to really have to go ahead and manage your time. If you wake up in the morning and you have some hours to spare, go ahead and whip your book out and start studying. At first, I didn't do this. I was not managing my time effectively at all. But my grandma would say, always study on a fresh mind. Wake up and you'll be like a sponge. You'll absorb everything. So for me, I did start doing that, especially towards the end. I would get up at 8 or 9 in the morning. I didn't get up at extreme hours, but I would just say, okay, well, from 8 to 1 I'm gonna study, or well, from 8 to 12, or from 9 to 1, and I would just get those strong 4 hours in, and it made such a difference in my exam grades. Just overall, I felt so much better. And I mean, the 4 hours would really go by so fast, and I would have gotten a lot of work done, and then I have the rest of the day to kind of relax or cook or clean up or go run errands or hang out. I'm lying, I did not hang out, but you'll have the rest of the day to do whatever it is you need to do. I also had a boyfriend in nursing school, and everybody's like, oh, you don't need to date. And I went in nursing school, I was like, oh, I'm not dating anybody. I don't want a boyfriend. I'm not looking for anybody until I finish school. But God had other plans. I did end up dating someone, but we were in nursing school together, so that was such a bonus for me. Like, we would spend a lot of time together, but we'd be like, okay, well, hey, let's answer these questions. Or we're just chilling out watching a movie, watching TV, but we would be like, what's so-and-so and such and such? And he would always quiz me a lot, just randomly, so that helped out a lot. But please manage your time and try not to procrastinate. I know I'm a big procrastinator too, but don't do it. Please don't. Another thing about managing your time is like when you get up in the morning to study, maybe try Your Best Grade. That was a big helper for me. It's yourbestgrade.com. They have a lot of RN stuff, LPN stuff. Like, it's full of different things for whatever you need. And a lot of people use Kaplan. I did have a lot of assignments to do for Kaplan strictly through my classes. But as for me, Kaplan wasn't the best resource. I felt like Your Best Grade, the questions were geared more towards passing exams and very similar to the style that you'll see on your exam. So to me, Your Best Grade was a better choice. Tip number 4, pray. I don't know what your spiritual life is like. I know my spiritual life was a mess at one time, but I really had to get back to what I knew worked for me. I really had to get back to get that spiritual alignment. I had to get that prayer life back intact, because like, you'll have people that you can call and uplift you, and your parents are going to say, you know, you can do it. But there's nothing like having that one-on-one time with whoever your higher power is, God for me. So you just need to be sure that you try not to get so overwhelmed. I know when I first started nursing school, I had just moved out on my own. I had gone to undergraduate school and stayed on campus for years, but I mean, I literally had my own apartment, and it was my first time doing all of this on my own. And I just started nursing school maybe a month or so after I got my first apartment. So all of these things were coming down on me at one time, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, I seriously had some severe anxiety going on, like for at least 5 or 6 months off of being out on my own. But I started realizing, like, hey, like, you can do this. Like, you really need to relax. It's not that serious. Pray about it. You'll be fine. And I really did that. And my parents, of course, helped bring me back on the road, and my close friends, they pulled me back in the road, and I was able to, you know, keep going. So please find out what your spiritual life is like and figure out how to fix it if it's not fixed, and just get it back in the line where, you know, you can take that moment to woosah, you get that prayer out there, and then you're fine. And the last tip I have is just stick with it. I've seen so many people who are like, oh, nursing is too hard, I changed my major, or I just quit going, or I'm gonna sit out this semester. Don't do that. If you have to, I mean, I understand there are circumstances in which you do have to do that sometime, but if you can, please just stick with it. It seems like the hardest thing. I mean, I know for me, I've gone through some pretty rough stuff, but nursing school was one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life, as far as the dedication that it took. I mean, I would go for months not being able to see my family because I was in school all the time. Then when I wasn't in school, I was working. Then when I wasn't working, I was studying. Then when I wasn't studying, it was clinicals. Like, it's always something. But please don't give up. Just stick with it. Like, you can do it. You can do this. Like, the nurse that checked on you and looked after you when you were in the hospital, they were once in your shoes. So just know that you can do it, and if they can, you can. So these are my 5 tips on surviving nursing school. I know this video probably could have been a little bit shorter or a little bit longer. There could have been a lot of things that I said, but I feel like overall those are the top 5 things to really help you get through it. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask, and above all, just please stick with it. I know I've said that 100 times, but don't give up. You can do it. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope that it was helpful to you. Don't forget to thumbs up or at least subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to smile, as I always say, and I'll see you next time with another video. Bye.